answers to me. For I am Doom.
The sky above the Fox X-Men universe turns blood red, and then another Earth appears in the atmosphere. Not a metaphor, not a vision, an actual planet hanging in the sky like a second moon, growing larger by the second. And Professor Charles Xavier sits in his hover chair and looks up at it and understands, in the way that a man who has spent his life preparing for the worst understands things, that there is no version of what he is seeing that ends well for everyone. That is how Avengers Doomsday begins. Not with the Avengers, not with Earth 616, not with anything the audience has spent 15 years being prepared to watch. It begins in a universe they visited once, briefly, through no choice of their own, the Fox X-Men universe, and it begins with the simplest and most terrifying explanation of incursion mechanics that any Marvel film has ever attempted. No exposition, no science lecture, just a red sky and a planet getting closer, and the people who live on this Earth understanding what that means. The Russo brothers learned something specific from Infinity War. The best way to establish stakes is not to explain them. It is to show a consequence before anyone has had time to build emotional armor against it. Thanos defeating Loki in the first 5 minutes of Infinity War did not require a briefing on how powerful Thanos was. The fact of it was the explanation. Doomsday is applying that same principle at a multiversal scale. You do not need to understand the physics of incursions after watching two planets collide. You understand them in your chest. The conflict that emerges from that collision is the one that has been generating more discussion than almost anything else in the Doomsday conversation. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man fighting the Fox X-Men, specifically Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, specifically Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool, the full team, one man against all of them. The logic driving that conflict is the darkest possible version of the trolley problem, applied to superhero mythology. In Tobey Maguire's home universe, he is the primary superhero defender. His Earth has entered a collision course with the X-Men's universe. The X-Men arrive with the solution their universe's brightest minds, including Hank McCoy, developed: detonate a planet-destroying bomb at the core of Spider-Man's Earth before the cores touch, vaporizing it and saving themselves. The math is terrible, and the math is correct. One planet destroyed saves both populations. Two planets colliding destroys everything. Tobey's Spider-Man looks at that math and refuses it, because the planet they want to vaporize is his. The people on it are his people. The weight of great power and great responsibility does not extend to accepting the annihilation of your world so someone else can live. He does not have a better solution. He has the one he has, which is to fight them all and buy time and hope that something changes. He is allied with a reformed Sinister Six for this fight. Former enemies who are enemies of each other's survival problem right now. Norman Osborn's Green Goblin, Otto Octavius. The specific absurdity of Spider-Man and his worst enemies fighting side by side against Wolverine and Deadpool is the kind of image that only the multiverse can produce, and it is apparently deployed in the film's opening minutes before anyone has had time to be shocked by anything else. The leaks behind-the-scenes details about Tobey's suit in this sequence are worth addressing because they explain a visual choice that has generated some confusion. He is not in his classic cloth suit from No Way Home. He is in a motion capture suit for filming, with the finished film apparently showing a heavily upgraded armor, either comic-accurate Iron Spider technology or something built by his reformed Sinister Six scientific brain trust. The mechanical arms and energetic elements of that suit make a physical costume impractical for the kind of stunt choreography that a fight against Wolverine requires. The Russo brothers used motion capture for exactly these kinds of heavy armor battles in Civil War and Endgame, and the results held up. Tobey Maguire in an armored suit that his former villains built for him to fight his former allies is a sentence that required 2 decades of cinematic history to become possible. Now let's talk about what is actually happening underneath the surface of this conflict. Because the X-Men believe they are making a desperate, morally awful, but logically justified choice to save their universe. They are not wrong to believe that. The choice they are making is exactly as bad and exactly as necessary as they think it is. But they did not arrive at this choice independently. The evidence threading through the early Doomsday material strongly suggests that Dr. Doom has been directing traffic in ways the heroes cannot see. The unthinkable decision Doom references in his dialogue is not about his own choices. It is about the choices he is engineering other people to make. By planting the technical knowledge of core detonation bombs, whether through Hank McCoy, through Professor X, through some other channel of information that the X-Men trusted because it came from a source that seemed reliable, Doom ensures that multiversal heroes commit cosmic-scale, moral catastrophes in the name of self-preservation. He is not destroying these universes. He is convincing the people in them to destroy each other's universes. Which means by the time those people realize what actually happened, they have already done the work for him. Their moral spirit is broken, their hands are dirty, and the multiverse has been thinned to a state where Doom's consolidation becomes possible. The gaslighting is the plan. The unthinkable decision is not Doom's sacrifice. It is the sacrifice he convinced the X-Men to make, and the sacrifice he forced Tobey Spider-Man to resist alone. The ending of the opening sequence is structured to rival the gut punch of Infinity War's opening specifically. The X-Men arm the bomb at the core of Tobey's planet. Most of the team escapes back through a dimensional rift. But Wolverine, fighting Tobey in close quarters while the countdown ticks down, gets caught. Spider-Man's web shooters physically pin him to the collapsing terrain. The bomb detonates, and Charles Xavier, back in the X-Men's universe, watches through the red sky as Tobey Maguire's planet becomes cosmic dust, believing that both Spider-Man and Wolverine died in that explosion. The specific emotional weight of Xavier watching that, and believing Logan is dead. A man who has watched members of his family die across 60 years of teaching young people how to be something the world feared, is exactly the kind of opening image that makes everything that follows feel earned rather than manufactured. Do they actually die? The mechanics of Battleworld suggest not. In Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars, survivors from destroyed realities are pulled from collapse at the moment of impact, and preserved as fragments within Doom's constructed world. Both Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker and Hugh Jackman's Logan are expected to surface in Secret Wars as key figures. Peter alongside Tom Holland's version, navigating a reality where multiple men were once Spider-Man. Logan in whatever brutal domain Doom carved out for the things that refuse to die. The opening destroys their universes without destroying them, which is the specific kind of narrative mercy that allows the story to be both genuinely tragic and genuinely continued. The 24-year Easter egg payoff buried in this sequence is the detail that longtime Marvel fans are going to feel in a very specific place. In 2000, when Fox's original X-Men was in theaters, there were genuine attempts to arrange a cameo where Hugh Jackman's Wolverine would appear in Tobey Maguire's 2002 Spider-Man. Scheduling and suit logistics killed it. The crossover that was supposed to happen 2 decades ago, and simply never could, finally arriving on the largest cinematic stage the genre has ever assembled, in the opening minutes of the film that is supposed to be the culmination of everything. The Russo brothers are not just making the biggest Marvel film, they are completing something that was started before the MCU existed and left unfinished. The fight between Spider-Man and Wolverine is not just a cool crossover moment. It is the film honoring the full history of Marvel cinema, including the history that happened before this studio had any control over it. What Avengers Doomsday is establishing with this opening is something that Infinity War also understood. The most effective way to make an audience genuinely afraid for the heroes they love is to begin by destroying people in places they did not expect to lose. The Fox X-Men universe being an active part of this story, rather than a cameo platform, changes the emotional stakes of every subsequent scene. If the multiverse can swallow that universe in the first 10 minutes, it can swallow anything. And Dr. Doom is the one ensuring it does. So here's what I need from you. The Tobey Spider-Man versus the Fox X-Men, does that feel like the right opening for a film of this scale? Or do you think there is a different multiversal conflict that would have hit harder? And Doom engineering the X-Men to destroy another world without knowing he set them up? Is that the most sophisticated villain plan the MCU has ever constructed? Or does it feel too removed from direct confrontation for a character this powerful? Drop everything in the comments, because Doomsday is coming and I want to be building toward it with you right now.